In this video, I wanted to take a bit of a look at the current state of play in Malaysia. What is the taxation policy here? What kind of tax incentives do they have for businesses and individuals looking to make their home in Malaysia? There were already some interesting schemes in place and available to people in Malaysia. And just in the last week or so, there's been the new announcement about the Forest City Special Financial Zone with tax incentives attached to that. So that's going to make things even more interesting. With there being a lot of uncertainty around the tax policy in Thailand at the moment, people are a little bit more interested about other neighboring countries in the region. So we're going to have a look at Malaysia and what they have to offer. My name is Aaron, I'm from Offshore in Asia. As you may know, we help people invest, do business, and relocate out to Asia. If you're interested in learning about any of these things, head over to offshoreinAsia.com and have a look around there. Now, one particular thing that makes Malaysia a bit of a standout is that it has quite close ties, well, very close ties, in fact, to Singapore. Singapore used to, of course, be part of Malaysia back in the day before they became independent. There is a lot of flow back and forth from Malaysia to Singapore. The two countries have very close political, cultural, and economic ties. And this makes Malaysia a natural beneficiary to, in a way, piggyback off the success of Singapore. And not just that, but the two countries are looking to work even closer with the new upcoming Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone, which I think will be very good, probably in particular for Malaysia, but it'll also enable Singapore to do things a bit more cheaply as well. And it's also going to be good for people who are interested in the MM2H option of applying under the Special Economic Zone category. The financial commitments are a bit lower on that, but we're not going to get too into that in this video. We're talking more about Malaysia, the future of Malaysia, and how it is going to perhaps rise off the back of Singapore. One of the reasons that we are bullish on Malaysia with its close ties to Singapore is that Singapore has quite a good international taxation policy. They're also a very good example of how a country can be business friendly, be tax friendly without getting offside with the big globalist institutions like the OECD and stay off blacklists and that sort of thing. So Malaysia tends to follow Singapore taxation policy quite closely. I think from anyone who's taken a close look, it is evident that they do use Singapore as a bit of a role model, and that's not a bad thing. For all of these reasons that I've been outlining. Both countries operate under a single tier dividend and company tax policy situation where corporate profits are taxed at the corporate level and not at the shareholder level. So the profits only get taxed once, and then once the profits are in the hands of the shareholder, they are generally tax-free. Both countries have exemptions against capital gains tax, and both countries also do not tax foreign source income under certain circumstances. With all of this stuff, there is conditions. It has to be done the right way. You can't just pay a dividend from anywhere or transfer money in from anywhere and have it be tax-free, but it can be tax-free if it's done in a certain way. That's the main point. And people who are looking to tax optimize in this part of the world will be working within these rules to do that. What else do I like about Malaysia and their tax policies and business incentives? Well, they are a very business-friendly jurisdiction. You've got the Labuan International Business Financial Center, where you can pay between 0 and 3% tax out there if you're set up in a certain way. And there are the new announcements around the Forest City Special Financial Zone, which is offering 0% to family offices and 5% for other specified business types. The family office market is a huge market. It's worth a lot of money. Currently in this part of the world, Hong Kong and Singapore are the main players. It is expected to keep on growing at a very fast clip, and Malaysia are looking to take a piece of that pie. So this could bring in a lot of foreign money, people setting up Malaysia. This will increase talent in the region. It will increase business infrastructure, access to banks. They also have the close access to Singapore, which is a very big strength on that. So it does have potential. It might take some time to play out, but it is a very interesting development. The Forest City Special Financial Zone is quite newly announced. We're still getting details filtering through of how the average person may be able to use this to their advantage. Of course, most people won't be eligible to open a family office. It's just the assets under management requirement is out of reach for most people. But we're going to be keeping a close eye on this to see if regular people, regular businesses are going to be able to utilize probably the 5% rate that they're offering in any way. And if you want to learn more about incorporating Labuan, we've got videos up about that. There's also information on our website. You can get in touch with us about that if you'd like to learn more. So what does the future hold for Malaysia? Well, I think they are going to continue to piggyback off the success of Singapore. And while Singapore has become very successful, it's attracted a lot of foreign capital, it has also become quite expensive. This is where Malaysia will come into play. It's going to be an attractive, lower cost alternative to Singapore. So we think Malaysia is going to continue to be a beneficiary of overflow trade from Singapore, if you want to look at it like that. And as it goes on, as the sector develops in Malaysia, it will become more sophisticated, it will have better access to certain markets. But just by the fact of having the Special Economic Zone and being so closely related to Singapore, it will have access to a lot of the things that you will get through Singapore without having to be in Singapore and having to pay that Singapore price tag. And while there are issues with Forest City, the government's doing the right things here. They need to do something about it. They've got all these apartments, these empty apartments that they need to do something with. Providing these kind of tax incentives is the kind of thing that will get people to move out here and start setting up shop in the area. It might take some time, but they're doing the right things and it could be really good for the area in sort of 5 to 10 years time. We'll just have to wait and see. Would it work if they didn't have Singapore in such close proximity and the Special Economic Zone? Maybe not. It would be a lot more difficult. They do really have a lot going for it in that respect. So I think in time Malaysia could well indeed be viewed as a junior Singapore. It's certainly on its way to doing that. It certainly wants to do that. The government is behind it. They're putting all the right things in place. It is very nice to see a country going out of its way to attract investment, to lower tax, to make doing business easy. This is what people want. It's going to be good for the businesses, it's going to be good for people moving out there, and it's ultimately going to be good for the country. So if you want to learn more about Malaysia, how you can do business out there, what are the various business structures you can use, the various localities you can incorporate in, such as Labuan, such as the Forest City Special Financial Zone. If you want to learn more about residency options, Malaysia has several ways to get a residency permit. And if you want to learn more about tax planning, whether you're moving out to Malaysia, setting up business in Malaysia, where you have offshore investments that you do not want to be taxed in Malaysia, how do you go about doing this? And will help to get you out here, living and operating in Malaysia while keeping your tax low and your lifestyle high. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll catch you later.